Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Wildly Authentic Podcast. For this episode, we figured we would take a moment and kind of talk about our history, how we got to where we are right now, and the wild ride that it's been getting to this point.
We had met with someone not too long ago and we were just getting to know them a little bit and questions just about our past. And it was funny because this person goes, "You guys have a wild story," like, no pun intended, but just your story is so interesting. And you've been through so much in life in a good, fun, adventurous way. And it made me think about it. Like, I don't think about it that much just because it's our story. It's our life. We've lived it. It's
We
been
just did
so
it.
fun.
Yeah.
But it is a cool story. And I do get asked that a lot over on socials. Like, tell us about you and your husband. How'd you guys meet? What inspired you to X, Y, and Z? So,
You get asked a lot about tell us about your husband. Like he's pretty awesome.
yeah, ask about your husband. They do. Babe, tell me about your husband. He's so awesome. Dear. Okay, well, we went there. So, quick recap.
A quick recap.
A quick recap.
Where to begin?
We've been broke. We've lived in an RV full time. We had a baby during a pandemic, and then we're here, right? Pretty much it.
Well, we had a baby, then moved into the RV.
No,
Actually,
no, we
moved
lived
into
in the RV
Yeah,
first.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take it back from the start. So we met in college.
We did.
I worked really hard to get Lance's attention.
Opposite. I worked really
I did
hard.
not like him when I first met him.
She wasn't a big fan of mine,
a
but
little arrogant.
I won her over with my striking good looks and
He did.
stunning personality.
That's a thing. Anyways, met college. I played college volleyball. He played college soccer. I was a freshman. He was a senior. All the guys gave him a hard time because he was robbing the cradle. Remember all that?
Yeah, it didn't faze me.
They were all jealous because they just wanted to ask me out too. So sucks to be you, buddy. And that's pretty much history. We dated for only like a year.
Yeah.
I think a big part of our story is where we came from too. I was one of 11 kids. So knew from a very young age, if I wanted to go to college, I'd be paying for it all myself. So I actually went to college for volleyball, which helped. But then I kind of sat back and said, I wasn't getting a full ride. So I needed to figure out how to pay for my college and not just go into a bunch of debt. So I went back to cosmetology school while we were dating. That way I want to be able to put myself through college, but I want to be able to pay for it. So it's just a interesting storyline there. But yeah, I went to cosmetology school. We were dating. We got engaged. And then our wedding. I feel like we could do a whole episode on our wedding.
It was pretty
It
wild.
was a wild day. Literally, tornadoes tore through the Midwest that day, not on the radar. The cops showed up at our wedding 20 minutes before we were supposed to walk down the aisle. We were in the car. It was an outdoor wedding. All of our guests were there ready to celebrate our wedding nuptials. And we get out of the car and the cops were like, "You have to leave. There's a tornado 20 minutes away." So that was crazy. So that was our wedding. I feel like our relationship just started off on a hilarious foot because of the tornadoes at our wedding. It was just wild from the very start. I feel like that should be a punchline. Wild from the very start.
It's like rain on your wedding day.
It's like rain.
We lived it.
We lived it. As soon as we got married, I feel like our life was a hilarious adventure. You guys should have seen the car that I drove because, again, growing up, I had very little money. I was very poor, but who cared? You figure life out. I had this, it was called Tropicar.
It was legendary.
Literally a painted Hawaiian scene. It had been passed down by my siblings.
Well, don't just glaze over that. It was a spray painted.
I'm going to find a picture.
A spray painted Ford Aspire.
The most unsafe car you could possibly drive. If I would have gotten hit by it, I would have just been obliterated.
It's basically a go-kart with
a shell.
A shell on it.
Not a very strong shell. Yeah, so that was my car. Literally, when I was 16, I flew to Oklahoma by myself and drove that back because my brother had just joined the military. But that was my car, and it was awesome. And
great car.
It got me out of a lot of tickets because cops just couldn't believe someone like me would drive that car.
It also prevented you from getting tickets because it wouldn't go more than 73 miles per hour.
I got pulled over for speeding. I got pulled over. Yeah, so anyways, when we got married, we tried to drive that car after our honeymoon to Florida, and we literally couldn't make it because my brothers had tried to help me replace the gas filter. Wasn't that what they were?
Fuel pump.
The fuel pump?
Yeah.
And they did it backwards or did it. So anyways, it would literally spew fumes into the car. We had to drive with the windows down. Otherwise, you would just
If
pass
you
out
push
from
the
the
gas
fumes.
too hard, gas would drip out below the car. It was pretty bad.
But all that to say, first few years of marriage were super fun, very simple. We were broke, like broke as a joke.
And that's okay.
Yeah, it was a blast. You worked for the college, making how much did you make? Like 25 grand a year. We
No,
did like
it
live
was more than that.
no, it was close to that. It
Maybe it
was
was
like maybe
28.
30, 28, 27. But we lived on campus. We could like eat the cafeteria food, and I was back in school playing college. That was weird. I was like play college volleyball while married, and we just had a good old
It
time.
was fun. The first year of marriage, we had an apartment right in Palm Harbor, Florida, and that was fun.
We played
Played
tennis a
played
lot,
tennis
did a
and
lot of free
just
stuff.
a lot of fishing, and that was really cool. And then the second year, we moved on campus and lived on campus for 5 years, 4 years,
Yeah, we did for a
4 years.
while. Literally shared a wall with a college student.
We were in the
Ben.
men's dorm. It was awesome.
Ben will always be just like close to our hearts, pretty much because he had to share a wall with us.
Yeah, literally close. Like,
Was
those were
wild.
those were some of the most treasured times
Yeah,
of our
so
life, I think.
fun. Yeah, totally. And we were just not focused too much on making a bunch of money. I was going through school. We were enjoying being married. We were focused on just enjoying life. And I never forget, like one time we didn't have any debt. We didn't have any credit cards. We knew better than to get a credit card because we made nothing. But I remember it was our family get together in Indiana and we could not afford to buy plane tickets to come home. Remember that?
Yeah.
And at the time, his main source of transportation was a motorcycle because we couldn't afford 2 cars. So he had this cheap motorcycle. And
It
I
was
w I
awesome.
wasn't about to tell my family I couldn't afford to come home and ask for someone to, like, pay for a ticket. So we had enough to buy me a ticket home, and he drove his motorcycle from Clearwater, Florida to Indiana, which was like an 18-hour drive. Looking back, I was like, I
It's
should have
so
asked for
stupid.
money because that was dumb,
So stupid.
foolish. Literally, you almost died.
Let me
Oh,
give you, like, a little more context to that crazy statement. So it was a Suzuki Intruder, so it's big, huge, big motorcycle, 2 big saddlebags on it. Had no windshield, and it had no cruise lock. And so
yes.
if you know anything about motorcycles, or if you don't, driving down the highway at 80 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour with no windshield and no cruise lock, meaning I had to hang on the entire time to the throttle, just ripping down the highway.
You almost got hit, like, twice, right?
Yeah, so in the state of Florida, so I didn't even get out of the state, and a semi blew a tire in front of me, and the tire almost hit me in the face. That was insane. And then I, blew a rear tire,
That's right.
and that was really sketchy. I fortunately made it safely off the road and was able to get a replacement, and then just ripped up the road on the way to Indiana. It was
Family get together, baby. Yeet.
it was crazy. There's a lot more funny stories about that trip, but yeah.
But I think that's just
Yeah.
a good just, like, we were just at a stage in life where just it is what it is, and I think, we had people in both of our families that would have given us money,
Well,
but
honestly,
we
it's
were
not
figuring
even
life
I don't
out.
even know that, like, it is what it is. I think that was our reality, and it didn't even phase us. It's like, we're gonna spend our money on your plane ticket, and the cheapest way for me to get there is to take the motorcycle. So it's
But
like, yeah, that's what we do. No
I
big
do
deal.
love it that it wasn't even an option to ask our parents. Our parents would have helped us, but it's like, we're married. We'll figure this out. We're adults now. We're adulting.
I'm an adult.
What adult, mom?
Oh, yeah. Crazy.
But that was fun. We did that, and then we decided to go to the other coast for a year. That was a fun year because we
Yep.
lived right on Cocoa Beach, and we surfed. Well, you surfed a lot more. That's when you got better at surfing than me. But we lived on the ocean, and you would go surfing every morning, and it was cool. He actually got to work at a church there and do some outreach ministry,
So fun.
which is really neat. And then that's when you got asked to be a teacher, which you weren't a teacher. And what did you teach? Ethics and hermeneutics,
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah, like a kinda like intro to the Bible, how to study the Bible, and then I think I taught some freshman courses too, but that was
And you
super
coach. You
fun.
coach
Yeah, coach
soccer.
soccer.
I coached club volleyball at that point. It was fun. That's about when I became a nurse, finally got to finish with school, worked in the ICU for a few years. That was just a lot of fun because we had some of our best friends at the time that we would just hang out with all the time. We'd go fishing and crabbing
Yeah.
and just hang out by the water. It was a lot of fun.
So when we were in Cocoa Beach, that was your first nursing job,
It's
correct?
like I had just started there, but I only worked there for a couple months, and then
Right.
we moved right
And
over
then we
to
moved back over to
the
Clearwater.
ICU.
And then
Mhm.
you worked in the ICU back in Clearwater while I taught.
Yeah, and we did that for a couple years. And then I'll never forget, like, I was to the point where I was like, I feel like it would be smart for me to go to anesthesia school because obviously I know I want to be a mom someday and it's a really good career. And people who say money didn't play a part in deciding to go to anesthesia school, that's just silly. It definitely plays a part. So I love high acuity. I love this, but I also want to like make my time worth the most as a nurse. So that's why we were thinking about it. I remember when I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go to anesthesia school, but I feel like I should. What did you say? You're like, okay. And at the time, he was really into like roasting coffee. Like it's
Still
like
am in some
every
regard.
hipster goes through that. Lance got a little hipster at heart.
Well, I mean, it's something that I enjoy. So
Yeah, and he's good at it. He used to have this little notebook where he was convinced he could get me to like black coffee, which I don't like black coffee. I like creamer with a little bit of coffee. And he had a little notebook with recipes that he would try so hard to find a coffee that make me. It was really sweet, cute.
tried.
He's given up since then.
Yeah. Threw in the towel on that.
But there was an opportunity for us to move to Colorado, and he was gonna start a roastery out there with a buddy.
Yeah.
So we're like, "Okay, I'm gonna apply one time." And I was like, "God, if you want me to go to anesthesia school, I'm gonna apply one time. And if I don't get in, then we're gonna move to Colorado."
Yeah, I
That's
think
kinda like
I think
our
it was kinda like a little bit of a fleece moment, you know what I mean? Where
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just like, "All
please.
right, we'll apply to one school, pick the one that you'd wanna go to." So whatever one that is,
Yeah.
and then if you get in, that's the route we go, and if you don't get in, interview doesn't go well or whatever, then we go out to Colorado and start the roasting company and do the coffee shop route, and you can keep doing the nursing stuff.
Which I will say that's one thing that you and I have always been really good at, and we always said we don't really care where life takes us as long as we feel like it's what God wants for us in the right direction. So that's why we've always been very like, you go into the ministry, okay, you get into sales, I go to school or I don't. It's all very while I am, yes, I'm a planner and I'm a little bit of type A and like a control freak. I'm also very whatever's meant to be will be because ultimately God is in control. So I like it that you call it a fleece moment because it was. We're like, well, here we go. See, those are two very different things.
I think that's a good thing to practice for people in general, like for couples, is when we would come to an impasse where it's one or the other, or like career path choice or whatever it is. Hey, let's not talk about it. Take like just say a week, 2 weeks, however long you want. Pray about it separately and think through it and reason through it on your own, and then come back together and talk about it. And I
Yeah.
think that that's really helped us make a lot of the big decisions that we've made in life.
For sure.
We've made kind of doing that, and it's been really nice. I think both of us think well independently, and both of us have successes in our own way, and having that time apart and then coming together and be like, all right, what do you think? Well, what do you think? And then talking together about it. And honestly, on every decision, we've both been the same. It's
Well,
not
I
been
think
like, I want to do this. No, I want to do that. And okay, well, here we go.
Well, because I think we take time to think through it all the different aspects, and then we also come back and we listen to the other person.
Yeah.
And then it helps us to get on the same page. I think a lot of like if we ever do have a disagreement or argument, it's because we're not really listening to the other person. Like for me, I kind of like have these reaction, what I think's happening. Then if I were to take some time to be like, oh, well, that makes more sense. So you're good at that.
Thanks.
You're good at that.
Let's see. Where does that leave us? So
I applied.
so you applied. I'll never forget.
Where were we? Do you remember where we were when I got the call to interview?
I feel like we were weren't we just in our living room?
No,
Where were we?
we were at Johnny's, our
John.
favorite little.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
I
that's
remember. I remember
right.
what booth we were sitting in. I remember getting the
Yes.
call because I was like, "No way, they're calling.
They're calling me. Yeah.
No way!" Like, and I'm like, "They wouldn't call me if it was a no."
I forgot.
Yeah, we were at Johnny's.
That's
So I answer,
right.
and I was the first round of interviews, guys, for an incredible big programming. Like, I think they said that year they had 450 applicants. They interviewed 75, and they accepted about 40. I think.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah, so that was, like, super intimidating. So I was like, "What?"
So we ordered a pitcher of sangria, obviously.
Yes, we
And
did.
so then we loaded up in the car and drove down to Miami for your
Miami.
interview. Yeah.
Lance was so supportive. He was so excited for me. If you can ask him, I'm not a very good public speaker, believe it or not. And so I sat in my bedroom and I interviewed myself in the mirror. I was like practicing my hand gestures and my twitches and my jokes. Yes, I made jokes during that interview. I cannot believe they let me in their program.
I think that I'll never forget too. I drove you down there and then I dropped you off and I'm like, all right, good luck. And I went and sat at a coffee shop while you were doing your interview. And I don't know, I kind of didn't really know what to do with myself.
Yeah, when you came pick
And
me
then-
up, we were both just like,
And then you called me and you're like, all right, I'm ready. And it's like, Well, now what? I mean, there was no answer. It was just, I think it went well. We kinda reviewed on the car ride home. You're like, "Here's some of the questions they asked me," and
I tried to make jokes, and I'm not a funny person. Like, I should never make jokes. And I made like, I was like my, like, uncomfortable responses to some of the questions, yeah.
but needless to say, you did great. You aced the interview because you got in,
I did get in,
and that
obviously.
began the chaos of anesthesia school.
It was kind of one of those moments I felt a little guilty because 'cause we're like, "Okay, we're gonna not pursue Lance's dream at the time, our dream or, like, what you wanted to do." But it was super cool because Lance was, like, so on board and all for it, and it was,
Well,
yeah,
again, we agreed on the clarity of the situation. It's like, "Hey,
totally.
we're gonna apply to one, and if this is meant to be, this is the direction that the Lord wants us to go, then it's gonna happen," and it did.
And we went on an epic I get asked a lot, like, "What do I do? I just got an anesthesia school. What do I do, like, leading up to it?" Just enjoy life because your life gets a little hectic. We went on an epic vacation to Honduras, did a ton of diving. Remember
Was it
that?
Honduras or Puerto Rico?
No, we did Honduras right before I got into school.
Before?
We did
Nice.
Puerto Rico the year before, yeah. So
So, yeah,
that
that's
was
right, we went to the dive resort. Yeah, yeah,
did a
yeah.
bunch of diving.
Oh, that
That
was awesome.
was a lot of fun. And then I started and my program is a little different. Mine was like an integrated program, so I started clinicals right away. So for those of you that are listening that maybe did anesthesia school, but the first year or so was all classroom, like, I was, like, put into clinicals within 2 months of starting, and it was crazy.
Oh,
I had no time off. Remember,
I'll never
we had a
forget that.
wedding we missed. I had, like, 6 days off for Christmas. I didn't get time off. I feel like programs nowadays give times off. They're probably just longer. But yeah, it was intense. It
I
was
mean, you hit the ground running. I'll never forget those early days of you're going in and you're just kinda thrown to the wolves. It's like, "All right, good luck.
wild.
You just gotta do it."
It was wild. Yeah.
That's
I have
crazy.
so much from anesthesia school that I could share. I was physically assaulted by an MD. She was crazy. I was, like, manipulated by the hospital to not press charges, and my preceptor kinda was in on it. It was
It
wild.
was
It
wild.
was wild,
But you got
and
through it.
yeah, and it was
Yeah.
really good for me, and I'll still say to this day, it's probably one of the hardest things I did, having babies, all the things, but because it was kinda like a long marathon of hard.
Yeah.
And again, it was a very good program. Some of my clinical sites, I just looked up, we were talking about labor epidurals at work the other day, and me and, my coworkers, and we were like he was like, "Man, yeah, I trained at this place, and we delivered, like, 3,000 babies a year." And I was like, "Man, I trained at a place like that too." I said, "But I don't know how much they deliver. I know they do a ton." And I looked it up, and they do, like, over 10,000 a year. So, like, the
Good
place I got
lord.
to train, we did a ton of it's like high acuity. So it was like a really, really cool, good training experiences where I got so but it was hard and it was a lot, and I think it really prepared me for where I'm at now. So
So all the while you were in anesthesia school, I was teaching, which
I'm
was
playing
fun,
golf.
and I
Ching,
got to
ching.
play a lot of golf, which was fun. I had a lot of free time on my hands.
Yeah,
It was
that
good.
was one of the questions in anesthesia school. They're like, "So you're married. Did you know the divorce rate is like" came up with some crazy number, which I never could find it online, but they told me that
I thought they said
they
80%
did.
or
They
something
told me the
stupid
divorce rate
like
was
that. Oh,
80%,
yeah.
and their goal is, like, to have, like, a mentally stable person, I think, and not have any stressful events happening. They're like, "How's your marriage?" I'm like, "Well, he's fine with not seeing me at all. He's gonna go play golf every day." That was my joke. That was my one good joke I had.
Which is not true. I wanna see her every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyways, it was good. The program was hard and long, but it was good. And then when did you switch over? My brother-in-law actually and sister started a company and asked him if he wanted to work for them. It was like kind of a startup, a risky job a little bit, but you had kind of been wanting to get into the business world a little bit.
I really wanted to try sales of any kind, really. The problem was we were at a stage in life where I really couldn't do an entry level. I needed a chance. And it was cool because the opportunity with foam core came up and it was like, hey, here the chance is you can go and develop this territory with a huge commission rate and no base salary. And I'm like, that sounds like a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
so,
And we were already used to
yeah,
living really simply and
yeah,
really poor.
yeah.
It was like, well, I can guarantee I'll make this amount off of commissions. And it was like a small amount, but it was enough to get
Enough
by.
to be, yeah, just fine.
I was like, perfect, go grind. Like, I'm busy.
So that was, I mean, honestly, it couldn't have been a better start to that job because I had a ton of time to travel and to
Yeah,
go get after it. I mean, it was great.
it was really cool. And then I'm being the planner I am. And I say this very humbly. I know I sometimes it's hard to talk about our pregnancy journey because everyone's pregnancy experiences are very different. But I knew I wanted to have kids right when I got out of anesthesia school. So we planned our pregnancy to get pregnant in my last year of anesthesia school. And thankfully we were able to. But me being a nurse, I should know this, but I want to have my baby right after graduation. That way I can go on maternity leave during credentialing because it takes like 3 months to get credentialed at a facility as an anesthesia provider. I'm like, that'll be perfect. That'll be like my maternity leave. And then I can start working because we're broke. We're like, I need to start working. And I mistimed it. I was like, okay, 9 months. I'm so dumb. I was like, 9 months from May. And I did like, girls, you're actually only pregnant for 8 months because when they time it, they go back a month. Like, 9 months from your last period. And remember, I like totally got the month off.
We missed the mark.
Like we conceived the wrong month. Anyways, all that to say.
I just say it wasn't my fault. I did my part.
He just did what he was told. But COVID actually did save us. So that's when we got pregnant. We found out we were pregnant. We're like, okay, what's our plan? I wanted to move back to Indiana to be close to my family with littles. So we're like, okay, we'll move back to hometown. We started looking for jobs. And we're like, let's sell everything. Let's sell everything. I didn't know how we came up with that idea.
I don't either. Oh, no. It was because you were getting very pregnant and having to drive to clinical sites, like clinical sites that were an hour away, and you'd be driving 2 hours round trip or more.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, what are we doing? Why not, like, let's just sell everything and buy an RV and live in an RV for as long as we want to.
Yeah.
And then we can sell it. And so the conversation began that way. And it was like, yeah, I mean, this makes total sense. Let's do it.
You guys just see the RV we lived in too. And it was the biggest one you could get.
It was awesome.
Marble floors. I tell people like, yeah, we live like in an RV. I'm like, no, this isn't just any RV.
It wasn't like a shanky Airstream.
It was a nice. I had all my stilettos with me.
It was a 45-foot tag axle diesel pusher.
It was amazing. 2 bathrooms.
2 bathrooms. It was awesome.
It was awesome. So we would just go from like, at this point in my schooling, I wasn't in class much. I was doing all clinical sites. And so we would just travel from clinical site to clinical site. And then you would just travel from wherever we were for work.
Yeah.
So we would get
and the other thing too is, I mean, everything worked out so perfect with that because during the pandemic time period, nobody was taking appointments in person anyway. And so my travel went way down from average because people weren't meeting together. And so, you know, Zoom calls went through the roof, and it's just like, well, this is perfect. Like we just said, well, where do you want to go and where do you want to park at? So we traveled for a little bit, and then we brought the RV. That was, you were really pregnant. And so we drove the RV up here and had.
Well, that's the wild part of the story. So we were supposed to deliver our baby in Clearwater.
That's where you're doing all your OB appointments.
Yeah, my doctors. And I'll never forget, I was 38 weeks, 5 days, maybe 38. I was very pregnant. And it was my last appointment, and I was due May. So I got a call beginning of April, like the second week of April. And they're like, so we just had an event at the hospital. We had a massive cardiac arrest on the OB floor due to COVID. So unfortunately, the hospitals decided that no dads can come to the births, or no partners, like only the birthing moms. So your husband, unfortunately, isn't going to be able to come to your baby's delivery. And I was like, yeah, that's not an option. This is his baby too. Like, it was just so weird. And it was just so easy for us to be like, we're out of here.
Later.
So within 10 hours, and at that point, COVID had gotten so bad, our clinical sites all shut down, stopped taking students. Our program called, I had well over my hours and numbers for everything. So they're like, you're done with clinicals, which was a blessing also because I was very pregnant. And within 10 hours, we were packed up and we were
out of there
on the road, heading north to Indiana. And I was calling OB doctors saying, will you take me as a patient? I'm going to deliver in a week and a half. And sure enough, it was just such a wild time because it was just like, it is what it is. And it was a good reminder that when life gets a little crazy, you just kind of have to go with the flow, figure it out, kind of like be rational a little bit. And that was just like, he's going to be with me in the room. That's not an option.
Yeah.
It's your baby too.
So
this is what we did.
Drove the RV up to Indiana, had our firstborn, spent a little bit of time in recovery after that here, which was great, being close to Sarah's mom and parent. And that was a long process and a couple months, and then we hit the road.
Yeah. So we actually decided to I decided to push off my start date, like, by a month or so, and we
Yeah.
headed out west with the RV, and we did a ton of hiking, and,
It was
like,
so fun.
we did northern, southern, Utah and then northern, southern Colorado. We
Yeah.
did all the, like, the parks out there, and Maverick was just like a little baby, so we had him in a backpack, and I would just breastfeed as we would go along. I tell him, like, "You breastfed on every mountain peak in Colorado and Utah." It was super cool.
Got around. It was fun.
Yeah.
So then we brought the RV back to Indiana and lived in the RV for a while here in Indiana while we were looking for houses. Couldn't find anything. Finally got into a little duplex on a lake here, which
Our
is
we just
great.
wanted to live on the lake. We
Just
love the
wanted to be on the
water.
water. Real estate was really tricky at the time.
Everything was going so
Everything was
fast.
going so fast. Interest rates were crazy low. So stuff was just flying and we were having a hard time keeping up. Finally, we sold the RV. We got into a duplex on the water. Super great. Had a great experience there. And then because the housing market was so bonkers, Sarah had the bright idea of let's just go start knocking on doors
Wait,
and
did you say bright idea?
asking people if they want to sell.
He did not think it was bright at the
I didn't
time.
love the
He was
idea.
very, like, embarrassed of
I
me.
didn't love the idea of knocking on strangers' doors,
I
but
just got super frustrated because
I got over it.
we had put offers in on houses, got beat out, like, cash offers. I'm telling you, everything was so you could not get anything, and then we went and saw this one house, and the price was way too high, but I knew it was gonna sell because everything was going, and it needed so much work. So I just got frustrated, and a couple of doors down from that house is the property we actually own now, and it's, like, a really cool this really old boathouse built during the Great Depression by, like, the mafia, and it's surrounded by this gate iron in this neighborhood that's, like it's just a
Gate iron.
iron gate, surrounded by this iron gate. Yeah, and I grew up, like, a half mile down the road, and I've always loved this property, but it was a little mysterious because it was very overgrown,
It was
and
in rough shape.
it was a little bit rough shape, and the house was the oldest house on the lake, and it was also pink at the time. But I knew it was a woman who lived here. She lived here for a long time, and she was, like, in her 90s, lived by herself, and I was like, "You know what, Lance? I'm gonna go knock on her door and see if she'll sell me her house." And Lance was like, "You can't do that. People don't do that." I'm like, "Oh, yeah? Give me my baby. I'm gonna do it." He was so
She
embarrassed.
was like, "No, no, you." I remember you said, you were like, "Oh yeah, me and Maverick are gonna go knock on that door, and if you would like to come with us, you
"If you would
can."
like to come, you can." And Lance was like, "Oh,
Well,
well."
I guess I'm going.
But it was really cool because it was just again, it was meant to be. We knocked on the door and I kinda just told her, "Hey, I lived down the road, I wanna raise my family here, like, I would love to, buy your house from you." And she just kinda looked at me and she looked at Lance and she looked at the baby and she was like, "Come on in, I'll show you around."
So, long story short, we
Mhm.
basically traded places,
We did.
with her, and that was a good deal on a lot of levels. So
Yeah.
that worked out great. So we lived in the old house, which was I like to call it the Swiss cheese house
It was a
because
Swiss cheese
it
house.
it literally when the winter winds would blow, it would just go right through the
Yeah,
house.
like,
It
you had
was
breezes
so
through the
cold,
house.
just freezing through the house. And
Um Maverick had to get his, rabies shot because of the
yeah,
bats.
there was bats that got into his room, and there was just a whole
Pipes froze.
pipes froze. It was
We
not
tried with
we
the old
tried.
house,
We
we
tried to
did.
save the old house, but,
It was not meant to be, but that's
we
okay.
had to part ways with it,
And it
and
was super
so
fun because I got to design the house we're in now, like, it's always been a dream of mine to design. I've
yeah.
lots of hobbies, and designing homes has always been a hobby of mine, so it was really cool. I got to do that.
It was fun kinda sitting out on the water on the boat and just kinda dreaming about what it could be, and again, when we first moved in, it was just a super overgrown property, so you didn't even know what you had, and then as we uncovered it and cleared things and did some small landscaping projects, it's like, wow, you uncovered this beautiful property,
Yeah.
and then Sarah designed such a cool house, and again, very long story short, we moved in with your parents.
Yeah, we did.
They have an Airbnb addition to their home, and
They were
so
very
they were
gracious.
very gracious to us, and, we moved in there for a year and a half, basically,
Mhm.
while our home was being built, and then moved back into our new home.
Yeah. And the rest is history.
Oh, yeah, well, that is a brief history.
Brief history.
I think there's a lot of stories like in that of like really cool things that God did in our lives and just orchestrated things so perfectly. And when you start like looking back and like categorizing things, it's like, wow, this is a really, really cool stuff,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And it's fun now. We have 3 kiddos and we live on the lake and we love it. I think you and I were still very much people, we love adventure, we love new. I've started a business. We've started doing more of like our podcasting and social media. And
I think one of the, I'm sorry, go ahead,
no,
finish that
no,
thought.
it's just you never know where life will take you.
You never know what life will take you. And I think what's interesting about us is that I think both of us, if that history, it was brief, like we just gave you little clips. There's a lot more to it. But what both of us really like is we get kind of restless and we like
We do.
change and we like new things.
We
And
like, yeah, the
I
unknown.
don't I know for me, like career wise, I love what I'm doing right now. Like I'm so happy with
You're
it.
good at it.
And Sarah obviously has taken on some new ventures and business things and like super fun. But again, all of this is like the change and the newness and like it's just always evolving.
Yeah.
When are we coming to that next impasse where it's like, yeah, let's
I
do
know. I
something?
need to get a hobby real quick or else I'm having another kid. And I'm not ready to have another kid. No, but I think it's fun to reflect on our story because I will say at the end of the day, I do want to be a couple and a family that really reflects and say, by God's grace, we are where we're at.
But you can't deny the fact that God was orchestrating the entire
Yeah.
thing the entire time.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like, when you look back, it's like, man, we really made good plans, but like, we didn't know we were gonna
How
have
would,
our first
yeah.
baby in Indiana. We didn't know that we were gonna do the RV thing. It's just these ideas came to us and some of them were crazy, but
Or for me
out
to
of
get into school the
yeah.
first try or you to get your job, it's funny. You go from here and we're here and well, how did you get there? Well, we love life. We seek God's will and try to be good decision makers along the way,
Yeah.
you know?
And I know you get this question a lot. It's just like, well, how do I get there? Or what did you do? What are the plans? I do feel like there are little habits and there's little things that you can put into practice that can make you have little tiny steps, like one foot in front of the other to make a decision, to make a decision, to make a decision. And then when you look back, it's like, oh my gosh, we lived in an RV, got into anesthesia school and did this and got this job. And now we live in this house. And it's like all of those things were little steps. And to now where you look back, it's like, wow, that is a crazy pathway, but they're just little faith steps.
We have to tell the story of us traveling to the boondocks. Where did we go with a backpack full of cash to buy our RV?
Oh, that's a wild
That was a
story.
wild story, guys. How old were we? 20s, sold our townhouse, used that money to buy the RV, which was expensive. It was like a $250,000 RV.
Yeah.
And he wanted cash, but we did bring it and like we had like a chunk of cash and then we had like cashier checks,
Cashier's
right?
check. Yeah.
But we had to do it in person. So we flew to where did we fly into?
It was Boonies, Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana. So
Oddly enough, it was, and if you know your geography, which you don't,
I don't.
it was southeast of New Orleans, which makes no sense when you think about New Orleans. I mean, it was way out in the middle of nowhere.
So we fly into that airport. We go to get an Uber and we told him the address. And I'll never forget the girl. The girl was like, "Are you sure you know where you're going?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean?" What did she say? They usually don't drive there. Like she would drive us, but like they usually don't go that far because it's in
Yeah.
the
I mean,
middle of nowhere.
it's just
Like
way
she's
out
very for
there.
our safety. And I'm like, man, we have a backpack full of cash. What are we doing?
We didn't know what we were
We
doing.
literally get dropped off at this person's home. I think they were a little like questioning us as well.
Yeah, probably.
Like, who are these people? Are they really flying in to buy this? And then here's Lance and I with our backpack full of cash. And I
Yeah.
think they immediately realized, like, oh my word, these are just 2 kids who are literally here with a backpack full of cash to buy this from us.
Nicest people ever.
So nice. We
Sheesh.
still, oh my word, I was pregnant. She brought me to go get Subway. She was so nice. And then we went, and then we had to get like the things notarized, the paperwork notarized. So they're like, okay, we know this person we get in the car with them with our backpack full of cash. And they drive us it looked like they were somewhere they would bring us to kill us. It was
They were nice people, but
well,
it was in a shipyard, wasn't
the
it?
shipyard. They
Where the notary
we pull
was.
into the shipyard and I'm like, this is where I would bury a body
It was
for
wild.
sure. And it ended up being like a little lawyer, like a law, like a
I don't
law. It was like, yeah, anyways. It worked out good. We're here to talk about
Worked
it.
out good.
Loved the RV. Gosh, if anyone can live in an RV for a period of time, it is so much fun.
Highly, highly, highly,
So much fun. It's just
highly
a vibe.
recommend. Highly
It's just like
recommend.
look at although I swear you were gonna crash that thing. You were so good at driving that.
Yeah, you would kinda panic every once in a while.
Because if you've ever driven one of those big old RVs, it's like a whole glass front and like you're sitting up there close, but you're sitting in front of the tires, right?
In front of the wheels, yeah.
So like you think you're gonna hit every mailbox, you think you're gonna hit every trash can, and then when you turn, you like are out past those tires, so you think you're just gonna hit everything. I remember going down that road, I was like, huh? It was horrible.
It was a little we white knuckle drove that
We
thing
did. You
back
did so good though.
because we drove that back. We drove it through the
No
night.
experience.
We yeah, I mean, I had driven buses before, pretty big buses, and I had my CDL, but that thing, I mean, it was huge. And then we bought it from that couple, and then we drove it through the night to get back home. We packed up our house, closed on our house, and
That's right. We had to
we
get
were
back
out.
to close. Yeah. I loved our tenacity back then. We were just
Wowzers.
like, yeah, let's go. I like it. Anyways, that's pretty much our story in a nutshell.
In
A
a
lot of
yeah,
little fun memories.
there's a
So
lot
we've
more
been
to
married.
it.
How long have we been married now?
It's going on 16 years.
Going on 16 years. And it's funny as we go through life, I meet more and more people who I'll never forget one of our who's become a good friend. He was like, Sarah, you guys need to share your story. He said, because you would be shocked with how many people in today's age are married, don't enjoy who they're married to, don't have a good marriage. And it's something very special. And again, I think we take advantage of it, but I'm married to my best friend. We love doing life together. And I think so much of that is due to, first of all, we liked each other when we first got married. We were best friends
Built a good friendship.
and we really support one another. Like he is so supportive of everything I want to do individually, and I'm so supportive of everything he wants to do individually. And yeah, I think that's just something we need to talk about more and promote. Yeah, I'm very thankful and blessed, and I do want to share that more with people.
Yeah, I also think too, when you look at society today and just marriages in general, sometimes people just don't like hanging out together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's not something that just happens. Like it's something that you work on. You spend time together, you find common interests, you go on dates, invest in one another, and you pursue their dreams with them and you
Yeah.
work together. And I don't know. I feel like when you look out there in the landscape, people can be very miserable
And you don't
in
get
their marriages. Like, man, but if you let yourself drift, you can definitely get to that point. But if you intentionally work through
Yeah.
together and you're driving together and you're meeting together and talking about these things and you're going on dates and you're, whatever you got to do to stay close, it's like you work at it. And man, I don't know. It's just,
You've always been good at that. Like dating has always been a big priority to you. And I really appreciate that because it is. Don't stop dating your spouse, just like you wouldn't stop dating. I'll never forget. It was probably not even a year ago. It was like post baby number 3. And I always say I get better and better and better at like recovering from babies because you experience it and you're like, okay, how can I get back feeling good and strong? And you said something, you're like, hey, thank you for caring about what you look like. And I was like, we've been married for 15 years. We have 3 babies. We get along great. We have, in my opinion, a very strong marriage. And
in my opinion, too.
but you're like, thank you for caring what you look like. And I was like, that's really important for spouses to think about because you should care. Just like you're dating, you should care to be attractive. You should care to be like respectable and all those things. I think people get in a marriage and you take it for advantage. Like, well, he gets what he gets and he has to be faithful.
Wow.
It should matter. You should still care to be someone that is attractable to your spouse.
And that's a two-way street.
I know. Anyways, I really liked it that you said that. And we had never talked about that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
There's a freebie for you.
Another day. But yeah, so our story, I hope you guys enjoyed. Life is an adventure. It's wild. Keep it fun. Keep it honest.
Yeah.
So for all of you parents out there or non-parents going through anesthesia school, wherever you're at in life, if life gets a little certain, just know that's good. That can be exciting, but just take it one day at a time. Live life to its fullest. Because it's just crazy thinking about 15 years ago where we were at. And we would never have been able to like plan for us to get here.
Yeah.
Not that it's that great. It's just a story. Like enjoy your story. I really enjoy our story, the good and the bad.
Mhm.
And I'm so excited for like 15 years from now, we can do this again and be like, hey, let's do like episode 2 of our story.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think it's a testament to the kindness of God in our life, which is amazing. And you can also look back and I think it's also a testament to being faithful in the little things.
Yeah.
So it's like the little steps that you make. And then you look back and it's like, wow, that was a wild pathway. But it's like, yeah, but it's little tiny steps of obedience and praying together and working together. And that's what you get to. So yeah, no matter where you find yourself in life, I think it's important to enjoy the phase that you're in right now,
Mm-hmm.
make the most of it, and continue to plan well and make little choices that get you to where you want to go. I don't know that I think that we both eventually wanted to live on the water somehow, some way, like, and
Mm-hmm.
raise a family like that, but no idea how to put that together till 15 years down the road. But
Yeah.
it's just little choices that get you there, and eventually you can accomplish whatever you want.
Hey, look at you, like all about the planning. High five. High five. I'm definitely the planner, but I love it because you appreciate it. You appreciate the planning.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wrap for our story. Thanks for following along. We share all sorts of random tidbits and fun. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We share all sorts of things: lifestyle, family, parenting. I also do a lot of anesthesia and aesthetic content. If you don't follow us, don't try to follow him because he hasn't started his TikTok yet, but we're going to. We're
Yeah, we'll
going
see.
to start his TikTok. I keep saying this every time, trying to guilt him into it.
Hasn't worked yet.
Believe it or not, he's really funny. So, anyways, thanks for being here, guys. Cheers. Have a great day. What do I always say? Do what you love what you do. And you always say, don't pet the sweaty stuff.
Ew, no, that's so weird.